As we know, in the original story, the Queen Medusa became Xiao Yan's wife. The birth of their daughter, Xiao, further strengthened their relationship. Kai Lin was no longer cold toward Xiao Yan. In fact, they developed true feelings for each other. Especially when Xiao Yan arrived in the Jiama Empire and saved the Yan Alliance and their daughter Xiao from powerful enemies from the Hall of Souls. After settling the affairs of the Alliance, Xiao Yan was finally able to devote time to Queen Medusa and their daughter. He even prepared an 8th-tier pill to improve Xiao Zhao's physique. Kai Lin leaned down and gently stroked her daughter's head. Her enchanting face radiated a charm filled with motherly love. Xiao Yan was slightly dazed when he looked at her, and then softly said, "Big brother asked me to hold a simple wedding ceremony to formally welcome you into the Xiao clan. What do you say?" Kai Lin trembled when she heard his question. Xiao Yan stepped closer while she was still flustered. Her usually cold expression had turned entirely red, but she looked more beautiful than ever. His heart ignited with emotion as he looked at her. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her gently. Yes, imagine it. The wedding of Xiao Yan and Queen Medusa. Incredible to think about. But Xiao Yan made this decision partly because of the birth of Xiao. By then, everyone already knew she was his daughter. Now he wanted to formalize his relationship with Kai Lin so that there would be no unnecessary gossip. In doing so, he also showed care for Queen Medusa, making sure she wouldn't feel like an outsider. Through this, Kai Lin would officially become a full member of the Xiao clan and Xiao Yan's wife. So how did the wedding happen? The 3 Xiao brothers gathered in a courtyard inside the Yan Alliance's headquarters. Nearby, Kai Lin was playing with Xiao, and the cheerful voice of the little girl brightened the atmosphere. It had been a long time since Xiao Yan last enjoyed such peaceful moments. He kept smiling as he watched the joyful expression on Kai Lin's face while she played with their daughter. As she interacted with her child, the powerful deputy leader of the alliance seemed to transform, filled with a mother's warmth. Her tenderness would shake anyone used to her cold and commanding presence. During that same time, Xiao Yan and Kai Lin held a simple wedding ceremony witnessed by Xiao Li and Xiao Ding. There were no grand celebrations or extravagant banquets, but it's important to note that the eldest brother acted as the family elder. With Xiao Ding and Xiao Li present, the ceremony became a meaningful event. Even so, Kai Lin's dedication to the Xiao clan and the entire Yan Alliance had already earned her the right to join their family. Xiao Yan simply had to give her that status. And let's not forget, she is the mother of his daughter. How else could he have acted? It was from that day that their true relationship began. Though Xiao Yan initially decided to marry Kai Lin out of gratitude for everything she had done, as a way to repay her, he was already in love with her just as deeply as she loved him. Later on, they grew even closer and began to love each other genuinely. This is evident in the events when Kai Lin and Xiao Yan went to the Deep Python tribe together. Xiao Li and Xiao Ding listened in silence as Xiao Yan recounted all he had been through since their separation. They were, to say the least, shocked. Though their own lives hadn't been easy lately, Xiao Yan had constantly thrown himself into danger and achieved the impossible. Both brothers sighed inwardly. The entire burden of their clan had fallen on his shoulders. Anyone else would have crumbled under the pressure by now, but Xiao Yan had done everything he could to grow stronger and rescue their father. Kai Lin smiled softly as she watched the 3 brothers talk. Being part of this family warmed her heart deeply. All the effort she had made over time had not been in vain. But in fact, this wedding was the first, and not the only one. Kai Lin took part in 2 ceremonies. The first was a small one with just 2 witnesses, Xiao Yan's brothers, while the second took place in a large hall with many guests. Why were there 2 weddings? Xiao Yan and Queen Medusa were married twice. The first marriage happened right after the Yan Alliance war ended. Xiao Yan's older brothers believed he owed Queen Medusa a great debt and strongly encouraged him to marry her. However, at that time, the state of the alliance was not very optimistic, and Xiao Yan's father was still being held captive. Xiao Yan couldn't convince his brothers otherwise and agreed. Since his father, Xiao Zhan, and his teacher Yao Lao were absent, the wedding was modest and quiet. Kai Lin accepted this because she didn't want to miss the opportunity. Xiao Yan also promised Queen Medusa that once his father returned safely, he would hold a grander wedding for her. And indeed, the second ceremony took place after Xiao Yan found his long-lost father. But now comes the big question. Will we see all this in the anime? The creators have promised that Xiao will not be removed from the plot, and that the wedding between Kai Lin and Xiao Yan will not be altered. However, some new information has recently surfaced. During a broadcast, the author of the Battle Through the Heavens novel responded to fan questions about Kai Lin's fate in the Donghua, stating that if the story follows the original plot of the novel, it will not pass censorship. This implies that the storylines and endings for characters like Queen Medusa may be changed or removed in the Donghua version due to regulatory issues. This sparked heated discussion among fans, especially concerning censorship and fears that arcs like the Yan Alliance Fortress might once again fall short of expectations. It was also mentioned that fans should lower their expectations regarding whether Kai Lin will actually be portrayed as Xiao Yan's wife in the anime, unlike in the original. But despite all this concern, Queen Medusa and Xiao will likely not be cut from the anime. They are incredibly important characters who play key roles in Xiao Yan's life. Unfortunately, several plotlines involving Kai Lin and Xiao have already been removed. The first is Xiao's birth. Also, her first appearance, in leaked images, Queen Medusa is seen holding Xiao's hand as they release lanterns together, missing Xiao Yan. At that time, Xiao Yan was seriously wounded by the old ghost Zhai Xing and was on the brink of death. There is a high chance that Gu Suner will become the only main heroine in the anime, and that the wedding between Xiao Yan and Kai Lin at the Alliance Fortress will be completely cut. Even worse, Xiao and Xiao Yan may never meet as father and daughter. The removal of so many storylines involving Queen Medusa and Xiao is truly hard to accept. Despite her immense popularity, her role has been severely diminished. But even as we talk about this, we shouldn't assume the worst just yet. Despite heavy protest from fans, the producers and creators of the anime have made no official statements so far. If the relationship between Xiao Yan and Kai Lin really is erased, it would surely break everyone's hearts. Let's hope the animation studio listens to the fans and stops cutting Queen Medusa's story. Tell us in the comments, what do you think about these changes? Would you like to see Xiao Yan together with Kai Lin and their daughter? Let's not forget, Battle Through the Heavens is not just about strength and battles. It's also about loyalty, family, and love. Kai Lin and Xiao are an essential part of Xiao Yan's journey, and their story deserves to be told. Let's continue to support the original story and hope the anime stays true to its heart. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and see you next time.